Okay, I'm going to try to keep some of this shadow off here as I begin to do my painting. You may see a little bit of a shadow here. If you do, I apologize for that. And what I'm going to be painting here is I'm going to be painting with pastel pencils, and I'm going to be painting a local church that I have taken a picture of here. And these are basically the only colors that I've picked out that I'm going to be using here. I've got a white, I've got a red, a gray, I've got a lighter yellow green, I've got a darker green here, and I got a couple of other different shades of green, and I've got a orange, a blue for my sky, and a brown platinum color basically for my roof that is on the church here. It's always important to just get the colors out that you're actually going to use, because I have a set of these carb-othello pastels, and man, there's a lot of them in here. There's like 60 of them in here, so I only pick out the ones I really need. And I also like using this color shaper here. It's a nice little color shaper. It has a soft end on it on one end, pretty soft, and then I have a chiseled end on the other. It's really good for blending in small areas. And I always like to start out putting a little bit of white. And I've sketched this out just so I can actually make room for a border, you know, actually. So and I try to use the actual edges of the pencil as much as I can. I'm not going to try to color it in or paint it in on the entire area. It's okay if I skip some areas. Don't want to skip too much, but if I skip some, it's okay, because I'm actually going to take and blend this in a little bit. So what I'm doing now is I'm just actually laying down a white color here that's going to lighten up my sky just a little bit. And then I'll just kind of work around to this side here. And I may be a little bit too high at times. If I am, I apologize, because I am working by myself here, and it's a little bit difficult. I don't have a remote control for a zoom feature. I'm just taking and laying down some white color here. And that's what my intentions is by using this white color. And I'm just going to take and kind of smudge it a little bit, just kind of blend it around a little bit, smooth it out. You could actually use your fingertips on some of the larger areas if you want to. Just gonna blow a little bit of that off. Thing about using your fingertips, if you use your fingertips, then you're going to actually could get the oils from your skin onto your work there and it wouldn't be good. I'm going to try to adjust my light a little bit if you'll bear with me. I'll try to get the best position for this light, just so that you'll be able to really see what's going on here. Now you can't see my outline. I do have a pencil outline that I have drawn out or painted out here, or actually drawn out rather, excuse me, that you're really not going to be able to see that good. Now I'm going to actually take and I'm going to work on the sky color. And while doing this, I'm actually going to leave just a little bit of blank space area here for some clouds. And what you always want to do is you just want to work a little section at a time. By working a little section at a time there, you'll not get overwhelmed too much with the areas that you're working on. And after I've smoothed that out just a little bit, I'm going to go back with just a little bit more on top of that. It does take just a little bit of time whenever you're wanting to cover up all your lines on your paper. So you could take a little bit of your finger if you wanted to. You could smudge just a little bit. You have to be careful though. Like I said, you got to make sure that you don't have any type of oily residue that's going to be on your fingers. You don't want to get that on your painting because you can't fix that. And I'm going to go just a little bit in this area here. This is actually going to be just a small area inside the steeple of the church. It's going to have a little bell inside of it there. These carb-othello pastels, they work really great. They're really smooth, they're really creamy, and they're really great for pastel paintings. Just always want to make sure you get a nice good coverage. And also what you can do, if you find yourself that maybe you're getting a little bit of your pastel into an area that you really don't want it in, then that's okay. You can actually take an eraser and you can actually erase that out and opening up a new eraser here. This is actually a kneaded eraser, so kneaded rubber eraser. So you can kind of take it and work it any way you want to work it, just to make a small area here. And so if you want to erase some, I'll erase some that's on my roof here just a little bit. I'll make sure I don't want any blue connected to my roof. And right here at the top of the steeple, I'm going to erase some out just a bit there. Just to make sure I have everything like I need it. And that's pretty good. It's just that simple. And also, if you're new to pastel painting, what you're going to notice many times is the paper you're using. It's got some good teeth into it. This is the Fabriano pastel paper that I'm using. Got it off of Amazon. I think it comes shipped from the UK, which is a good pastel paper. But you'll notice you're still looking close up. You're going to see some lines because that's just the texture of your paper. And probably as you're looking at it on video here, you probably can't see much of the lines or anything like that. But that's just basically how it goes. I'm going to add a little bit of white here. I'm going to kind of lighten up the sky just a little bit right in here in this area. I'm going to add a little bit more white up in here. And that's going to kind of just represent some clouds, some light areas where some clouds might have been shining through. And then I'm going to take my little kneaded eraser, kind of erase out where my little small shrub and tree is going to be in the background there. Excuse me. So now I'm going to take my white, these spaces I actually left. I'm going to actually take that white and I'm going to make it pretty predominant here for some of these cloud areas. And again, the closer I get to the top, I apologize if my pencil's going out just a little bit. If I'm going out of your view, but I do want to get as close as I can so you can see. But I also need to just make sure that I'm not too far away at the same time. So basically what I'm doing now is just lightly touching this white. Don't want to touch it too much. Don't want to take too much away from it. And then every now and then blow off a little bit of your excess chalk there, just a little bit. So now that I have my sky the way want it here, what I'm going to actually do now is I'm going to actually take my tree. I'm going to work on the top of my tree. So I'm just kind of working from the top, you know, all the way down to the bottom there. I'm going to use this lighter green color here. And it's going to go all the way down to where it's going to actually meet the church. So what I'm just doing here is basically just getting the shape of the tree here. If you'll actually look at your tree while you're drawing it, if you'll draw the outline of the shape of the tree, it really works out best if you can, you know, do some things like that. And basically, when you're doing a tree, you basically want to look at your lighter areas and you want to look at your darker areas. And then you just kind of want to work on those and kind of just shade those in, paint those in. You'll eventually get an eye for it, you know, the more that you start working with it. The more you start working with your trees, then the more you'll start being able to see and differentiate between the dark areas and the white areas, or the light areas. And then what you'll want to do is you'll just want to focus, you know, a bit of your attention on those areas. And just to draw painting a tree, basically all you need to do is just make some little squiggly lines. Just look at the shape of the tree. All the leaves and things are in a painting is basically just texture anyway. And look where your darker values are. And once you see your darker values where they're at, just start coloring in, you know, use coloring in on those, or painting in on those rather. Pastel is actually considered a paint. Then every now and then just step back and look at it and see how it's actually coming along. And then it starts shaping up, you know, as you basically start blending it. With the color shaper tool is really a good tool to use to just start using to do all your blending. And you don't want to blend it really hard, you just want to get some light touches. You just want to kind of soften it up a little bit. And then you can actually take your tree, your branches, and you can actually put your branches in just as you see fit. If you'll notice, whenever you're drawing a tree and you're putting in your branches, you're not always just, you know, you're not always putting in the whole branch. Sometimes you want to put in just a piece of the branch. And as you put a little piece of the branch, it gives you that simulation that, you know, your leaves are covering up, you know, a good bit of your branches there. So I like putting in enough branches to where that it shows that I do have some branches here in the tree. And then I'm going to take some more of this lighter color here. Not a whole lot of it, just a little bit. Just want to hit some areas here with this. And as I do that, just take my color shaper want to make sure that you do color in as much of the teeth as you can get, because you don't want really any of your background of your paper to show through. But you have to be careful, you don't want to blend it too hard and just undo the work that you've actually already done. So just want to hit it in certain spots as you see here. And then there's times you may want to redefine some of your darker areas and maybe some more of your lighter areas at times. If you lose any of your branches in the process, you can always go back and fix that. But you don't want to add too many branches in there. You just want it to be just enough. Just enough to show that there are some branches there. I always use a darker gray to do this with. Darker gray always seems to work, you know, better. And then I'm going to bring my sky just a little bit closer down to my tree here. And then by doing that, I'm just going to take my color shaper and then just kind of smooth it just a little bit. You can kind of push some of that pastel toward the tree to cover up any gaps. Any kind of gaps that you might see there. And to just kind of blow it off. Well, that's basically got my sky that I'm going to do. It's got my sky, then it's got the top of my tree that's going to actually be sitting behind the church here. So stay tuned for part 2 of this video. And in part 2, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to paint the church. I'm going to do the church real nicely. And then we'll finish up after that. We'll do the shrubs, and then we'll do all the grass.